Well, let's just go over some accolades from this year. A 30-7 record, first 31 seasons since Barry joined Division III, 14-0 in the SAA, perfect league record, first team to ever do that, an SAA Conference Championship, SAA Coach of the Year, Hannah Kate Thompson, SAA Player of the Year, 3 All-Americans, a ton of records. I could talk forever. What has this season been like for you and your program having so much success this year?
Yeah, I think it really started last January when the rising seniors at the time were thinking about the coming fall and what we could be doing as a team to make sure the season was special, and convincing the underclassmen to really buy into this idea of we need to be more, better volleyball players, better teammates, and in turn have the outcome that we want. So I think, starting last January, we just focused on the process and what we need to do to have a great season, and then all those kinds of things come from focusing on the process.
Looking back at the start of the year, what's the mindset behind the scheduling? Because you come out at the start of the season and you go to 2 really, really strong tournaments against some fantastic teams, and you come out of that stretch 5-3. So what's the mindset behind start of the year, you get right into the thick of it and go into some really strong out-of-conference competition?
Yeah, I think every year when I'm looking at scheduling, my mindset is if we want to be a top team, if we want to be a contender every year for conference titles and beyond, you've got to play the best teams. And whether that means you go 0-8 or 5-3, I think it's worth it. I think you can grow a lot from it and figure out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And so those kinds of trips and those early tournaments are super important for us to kind of gauge where we're at, and also just grow from it and have those experiences. I think ultimately you become more comfortable against the top teams and those big games, you've played in them before.
Blocking is really going to focus all this year and all last year, led by Hannah Billiard and Carson Van Campen. But do you think that our success at the net is a product of their talent and their athleticism, or do you think it's more of a coaching style and kind of what you guys put into practice that leads to this team having so much success at the net?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things when you have an athlete come in from high school and club that it's not necessarily taught in youth volleyball very often. It's just not something of importance. You're learning some of those basic necessary skills. And so when we get athletes and stress to them the importance of blocking and how that can help you defensively and in turn offensively, it is something that we really focus on every single day in practice. I think when you have a competitive team that buys into what you're doing and wants to get better, they kind of push each other. And so it's a combination, I think, of both. Of course, their athleticism, but also we're focusing a lot in practice.
I want to go back to the first time that we played Emory back in October. To me, that was just one of those nights that felt different. It was the pink out game, honoring Jordan's sister. Barry had just lost a student athlete literally hours before you guys take the court. You go on to beat Emory 3-0 for the first time in program history, never beaten that team before. How special was that night for you and the team to, in front of 600, 700 fans, go out and have that kind of performance on a night like that?
I think it was so much more than just a win for us. It was this hump that we've been trying to get over physically, mentally, our confidence. We had never been able to accomplish something like that. And so it was the affirmation that we needed that we can do this if we stick to the process again and you get the outcome that you want. I think with everything that went on with Jordan's family this year and even Barry as a community that day, I think it was that much more special that we were able to do that and do it at home in front of our entire community and parents and all that. So,
looking at regionals, you get a really good Hanover team, you go 5 with them, you down Hanover, you move on to the regional semifinals against Covenant, and you get behind 0-2 and then complete just a simply amazing reverse sweep over Covenant to go to the regional finals for the first time in program history. What was regionals like, first of all, and when you're down 0-2 and you're heading into that third set against Covenant, what's going through your head as a coach, and what do you think was going through the players' minds as well?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of backtrack, there wasn't a single player on our roster that had been to an NCAA regional, having earned a conference title in the automatic bid. So this was a very inexperienced team when it came to postseason and what that looked like and the pressures and the whole thing, the atmosphere, all that was very foreign to this group. But I think that was kind of an advantage for us too, is you don't have that added pressure maybe necessarily. You don't really know what's at stake because you've never been there. So yeah, we drew Hanover. We knew they were a similar matchup to us and one of the top blocking teams. I thought we jumped out of the gun really strong, really confident, and then maybe got a little bit complacent or maybe let doubt or fear creep in just a hair. So I was proud of them for turning it around and obviously pulling through. And we knew that next match was either going to be Birmingham Southern or Covenant. And both teams we had faced before, both teams really challenged us in different ways. And so thankfully it was Covenant, and we got a second chance at them, a team that had previously beaten us. And yeah, jumping out 0-2 was a little bit scary, but we had a few individuals really step up and bring that spark and that confidence that we so needed and that we lacked the first time we played them. And so yeah, I think it was a special night in many ways, but I was really, really proud of them.
You move on to the regional finals against Emory, and it kind of just felt like Emory wasn't a team that was going to be beat at home that night. It didn't matter who they were lining up against. They played very well that evening, but it's the first time that, like you said, that inexperienced team in terms of postseason, first time that we'd ever been in the regional finals, just an insane season behind you. Do you feel like that was an appropriate ending to the year, going to the regional finals against Emory in their house?
Yeah, I think I think Elizabeth Ragland said this in her post-game interview. We just were really thankful to be there. We wanted to play with a lot of joy, play for our seniors, kind of leave it all out on the floor. I think physically there's a lot of things we probably could have done better that night, and I think a lot of things went right for Emory. But that's an experienced Emory team, a program that constantly is in that position and knows what that feels like. And so for us, it was new, like I mentioned, and so I'm hoping that we can build on that and make it back.
Here in just 2 seasons as a head coach at Berry, 53-17 record, 24-4 in SAA play. You take over for just a legendary coach in Micah Robinson, and you kind of continue her legacy of success in these past 2 years. What do you attribute that to, and then how do you keep it going?
I'm hoping it's buy-in. I have an amazing staff that constantly is helping us think of new ways to get better and giving in every sense of the word to the program. I think there's buy-in from our players, from the ones that we bring in and recruit, and we set those expectations to our leaders every year, and it's fun to see freshmen become sophomores and sophomores become juniors and develop their leadership skills. So I'm hoping it's just buy-in and this belief that we can be successful and wanting more and putting in the work and being willing to build a program to that level.
What does Berry College Volleyball have in store for 2018?
2018, we have an incredible group of 13 returners, 7 seniors. I am so excited for them and making this year special for them in their own way, and not thinking about the past or the past successes, but building on the potential and again focusing on the process. We have 5 really, really talented incoming freshmen from all over the country, and I'm looking forward to see them push those returners and make Berry Volleyball kind of their own too. And so yeah, our schedule is loaded again, of course, and I'm looking forward to being challenged early on and seeing kind of where we stand and what we can build on. But yeah, it's a new team, it's a new group, and hopefully we can continue to be successful and focus on the process.